dynasty in the making. We're the royalty. Now we're breaking down the enemy. Move over. For the soldiers. Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory. Yeah, we've waited for our time to come. Calculated everything we've done, we've upgraded. Now you can't outrun a champion. Now you're facing what? Can you hear them? Yeah, it's all for us. You believe them? Yeah, it's serious. Hear the siren. We're victorious. I'm telling you. Can I get a hell yeah? Take a swing, I can take a hit. If we die, it's fine. We live for this. It's all for this. We're gonna stand on top with our hands in the sky. Gonna raise our cup to the stadium lights. For the glory, for the glory. We celebrate with the city tonight. Hear the hometown cheer, it's the ultimate high. For the glory, we do it for the glory.
for allowing us to be part of your family. This is Joe Bloomstrom and Lori Bloomstrom, and behind us here is a picture of our son Paul, who is part of the sim racing family, and it's just so cool that you're allowing us to be a part of this, and we really appreciate you thinking of Paul the way you do.
We just wanted to thank you guys. We are so grateful you're doing this in Paul's honor. He really loves this community, and we are hoping that we can raise some funds for St. Jude's charity. We have a special place in our hearts for St. Jude's. They help kids, and we are really grateful.
Paul loved you guys. We miss him terribly. He was a great son, great guy, and made friends all over the world, including all of you. Thank you so much.
Paul loved to go fast, and I hope you guys do too. Thank you.
Welcome everybody, and welcome back for another great round of Vegas Cup Series action here from GT45 Gaming. And today we've got a pro split race here for you. So 2 weekends of racing left here before we crown our champion in the Vegas Cup Series pro split, and this should be an interesting one. It's a fairly decent racing track here. It is a fictional track we're going to be bringing to you here today from Gran Turismo 7, and I hope that everybody just enjoys what we got for everybody here today as we start to wrap up our Vegas Cup Series Championship here at GT45 Gaming in cooperation with Nolander and Fast Ginger Gaming as well. Alright, just after a quick little audio check, we're actually good for a change, so look at that. Alright, so today, ladies and gentlemen, we head over to Sardinia. Sardinia A is our racetrack, and this is a high-speed to mid-speed flowing racetrack, and it should provide us for some pretty good racing here today. Little mistakes can definitely cost racers here, as you are surrounded by walls pretty much all the way around the racetrack. In some parts of the racetrack, it's a lot wider than others, so tread with caution depending on where on the racetrack you are. Smart decisions are going to pay dividends for our racers here today, and it should be an interesting race here today. I think we may see a soft strategy here today as well from our racers, so let's keep rolling through what we got going on for everybody here today. It is Sardinia A. This is a fictional racetrack produced by Polyphony Digital and Gran Turismo 7. And again, this is a Group 3 championship. It is MR cars only, so mid-engine rear-wheel drive cars based off of what the game considers a mid-engine rear-wheel drive car, however, anyways. And this is for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So we'll talk a little bit about them here in a few moments' time. But first, we'll get everybody into what we got going on here in the Vegas Cup Series. So it is now closed for registration as well, too, for those that might have been thinking about trying to get in for the last couple of races. We did close registration off at round 7 to allow the 3-week chase to the championship not to be hindered by a new racer, so to speak. The wrong word, but everybody should get the idea. So we are a little under halfway to our $2,500 goal for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital here this season, and we would definitely like to see that grow quickly if possible. So the big thing we can do here today is like and share the stream out for us here at GT45 Gaming. That forces the YouTube algorithm to put it out to more feeds out there, and obviously the more people to see it, the higher chance we have at getting some help for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. And if you're able to donate, just follow the link provided right in the pinned comments here in our YouTube channel as well. That is Safe Secure. That is a site that I opened up in cooperation with Tiltify, a charity organization, and all the money goes directly to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. There's no delay. There's no wait delay. I close the fundraising off. The moment that money hits the financial institution, it goes straight to their bank account and it goes to work. So your money goes to work within minutes, if not seconds, the moment that you send it away as well. So we appreciate everybody here, and of course this is on behalf of the Bloomstrom family and in memory of Paul Bloomstrom himself, absolute legend in our community, and we definitely miss him dearly. So the schedule here, as we can see, is December 7th here today, and it is Sardinia A. It is evening time here, and random weather is at play, but we should not see rain, because I believe rain does not come into play here at Sardinia. And a little bit of information here. So the length of Sardinia A is 3.18 miles. It is 5.118 kilometers. It has 15 left and right hand corners. It is a tarmac surface. It is an original circuit here to Gran Turismo 7 and has an elevation feet change of roughly 105.6 feet. So some very interesting information on this track map. This is a brand new track map here at GT45 Gaming. We had just laid our eyes on it for the first time, just like you guys did here. So, compliments to 1010 Miss Devious for, of course, all the effort she does for these amazing track maps. She had this ready, I think, about 10 days ago, and we're just getting a look at it for ourselves for the first time. So, I apologize there, as I was a little enthralled about some of the information on there. So, and of course, again, this is the Vegas Cup Series in cooperation with the Bloomstrom family, Nolander Gaming, Fast Ginger Gaming, and of course, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So, why are we helping St. Jude's Research Hospital, you may be asking? Well, you know what the best thing to do is? Let St. Jude's tell you about it themselves.
Year 400,000 children like Justin develop cancer. If he had been born in the United States, his chances of survival would have been more than 80%. But in his native Ecuador, those chances are much lower. In resource-limited countries, survival rates are below 30%. Where a child lives is the most powerful predictor of whether they will survive cancer. There are many contributing factors to the disparity in pediatric cancer survival rates, including access to life-saving medicines.
So access to quality medications is critical for the success of any programs at the country level or global. Children cannot survive, cannot have hope without proper access to essential medicines. This has been something that we have identified as a priority.
St. Jude has long been dedicated to improving pediatric health worldwide. Building on our established global ecosystem of collaboration, we are launching a transformative initiative, the Global Platform for Access to Childhood Cancer Medicines.
We are now able to tackle the rare pediatric cancers and make progress against those because we're working as a global community that will allow us to purchase generic drugs and distribute those to low and middle income countries at no cost.
The global platform works by creating a central procurement entity within the World Health Organization, the UNICEF and the Pan American Health Organization. Then the governments engage to develop the production and the supply of these medications. And these are the medications that are considered to be critical and required for all children with cancer, wherever they are.
Today, essential cancer medicines are starting to arrive in 6 countries: Ecuador, Zambia, Jordan, Uzbekistan, Nepal, and Mongolia. These medicines, provided at no cost to local institutions, represent the first step in a long-term effort to reach 50 countries and treat more than 120,000 children in 5 to 7 years.
Danny's dream was that no child die in the dawn of life, and he was thinking perhaps about the United States, but I think in the back of his mind he was always thinking of a global landscape. And I see this as the logical direction for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital to go and for the entire field of pediatric oncology.
The global platform is more than a lifeline for children like Justin facing cancer. It's a foundation for a future where all children have access to life-saving care. By working together, we are building toward our founder's dream that no child should die in the dawn of life, no matter where they're born.
So there we go, a little bit from St. Jude's themselves about what it is exactly that they're tackling here right now. And I mean, talk about big ambitions and a big project there. And I mean, they've done great things in the United States of America already. So it's nice to see that they are branching out further and further beyond that scope. And they're also going to countries that are in much more need of help than a first world country, so to speak, like Canada, the United States, China, Russia, etc., etc., etc. So it's really important that we do the best we can to try and help, and that's why we're doing the fundraising here this season with the Vegas Cup Series with cooperation of the Bloomstrom family, because obviously this is near and dear to their hearts. So this was a charity that they had requested that we lobby for here this season, and we were real happy to do so. St. Jude's is a great organization, and been waiting for an excuse to do a fundraiser for St. Jude's, and well, we found ourselves an absolutely great reason to do so. So a little bit about what's happening here today is going to be a 60-minute endurance race. The grid is set based off the previous race results from last weekend. As we've seen, it was a very small grid last weekend, so it's going to be an interesting look at this, how the grid lines up here, because it does come down to based off of standings on SLP as well. So all right, track settings are Sardinia Road Track A, 60 minutes. It is random weather, evening, 2 times time of day variable rate. It is a grid start with a false start check, as the grid is set by me, as it is based off of last week's racing results. BOP is on and brake bias is allowed. No boost, real slipstream damage is on and on light. Tires and fuel are at 3 times each, and it is 9 liters per second refuel rate. The drivers start with a full tank of fuel, and all physics are set to real, and all flag rules and penalty rules are set on. So we have pit line penalties, we have weak track cut penalties turned on as well. It is Group 3's MR cars only. There are a couple banned cars this season, and other than that, it is free range here this championship season. There is no mandatory tire from race to race. It is a wide open tire strategy. First time we've ever let that go here this championship season, and we'll let the drivers do the rest. We'll let the drivers become the show, because that is what we all come here to do. We all come here to watch an absolutely great race, and we'll turn some game audio on for everybody here now. And what do we got in the lobby here? We've got not a whole lot more than last week at the moment. We got Tom, Jay, Misty, Dylan, Cher, Super, Jake. And we'll give it a few more minutes here. We're just kind of keeping an eye on 3 different spots at once here. We're keeping our eyes on Discord, keeping our eyes on the YouTube chat, and just making sure that we're in communication with everybody that we need to here. So for those that might be looking for Nolander stream here today, there will not be a live stream for round 9 from the Pro-Am division here today. Nolander is not feeling very well today, so he is running the lobby and behind the scenes and hosting the race for our racers, but he will bring a broadcast to everybody at a time that he, of course, lets us know in the Discord server when that live stream will be, and then we can get an announcement on the YouTube channel for everybody so they can go see what happened in the Pro-Am and the Am race here this week as well. But that race is ongoing and running, and it should be here in the next few minutes as well. So we're always a little bit behind here in the Pro Lobby because we have a couple racers coming in late from another championship series. And we also have one racer that is just coming back from somewhere here as well this weekend and just trying to get home in time. So we're going to give our pros just a few extra minutes of wait time here. They are aware it's going to be a delayed start here today. And there's a few things going on here this weekend. We just had a big update here on Gran Turismo 7. They brought the Spec 3 update, which brought us a new MR car, as a matter of fact, but we are not allowing the car in the championship series, as it wasn't a part when we scheduled the championship. We're not going to allow it in late into the championship, so we will not see the Ferrari 296 here in the Vegas Cup Series this season. We will most likely see it next season, but this season it is off the books. I mean, what else can we say? It's been a bit of an up and down season this season. I mean, we're definitely noticing the fall off in player base here in Gran Turismo 7. Normally, we would not have an issue holding a 10 strong in our pro division here at GT45 Gaming, and we've had a bit of an issue holding 10 strong here this season. So that tells me that the player base is dwindling a little bit here. We definitely advertised and did all that stuff for this championship season well in advance, so it's definitely not from a lack of putting it out there in the community. I think it's just the racers are bored and are looking for something new, something different, something a change, right? So the Spec 3 update came out. It has boosted the player base here in the game, but you know, we just had Thanksgiving last weekend in the United States, and now we've got Christmas encroaching. It is just a busy time of year for a lot of people, and it's a tough time of season to get racers to commit. Let's put it that way. But we'll let these guys and gals put out a show for us either way here today, and just reading the game chat, pardon me. And we'll get to racing here shortly, so I do have to set the grid still, so bear with me here. Keep forgetting. I've got it right at my fingertips here. We're still getting used to the new stream setup. I don't know. It's you get used to something for so long, like 5 years long, for example, and then you completely change it up, and you have to get reused to it again, and it's a little bit confusing, I guess, if anything here on my end of things. Sometimes when we're trying to get things moving here, so what's up, Sam? Hope you're doing good. You should be good. You should be good. You should be good. It's gonna be right on the bubble, but you should be good. We do have up to 15 minutes allotments, right? So, at that point, we do need to start considering starting the race. He's gonna be right on the button there, I think. So, we'll wait. You're all good, ATB. Don't put yourself in a dangerous situation in real life either, please. We don't want any bad news. We just want people to have fun. All right, so we do have 7 races here today. I suspected we'd have right around that 10 mark, but we are missing a few. We're missing a few. All right. Sorry, Chad. It has been a tough day here today. I've been scrambling all morning trying to sort out issues. We thought we might potentially had to even cancel the race today due to game glitch issues, but I haven't really seen too many of the issues that a lot of people are talking about right now. So we've ran 2 hours of testing this morning leading into the live stream here, which left me with 0 time to set up, get prepared, or do anything for the live stream here today. So I'm still kind of catching up behind the scenes here. So if you get a few moments of silence, I am just literally doing something else behind the scenes, just trying to get something else done that needed to be done before we went live. So I do apologize. So anyways, how's everybody doing today? I'm just out of my rhythm lately. I'm not sure why. We had a nice, I don't know, 6.5 hour live stream yesterday. Just chilling. Unfortunately, we didn't really have a whole lot of traffic on the stream, so it was kind of a boring stream for me. I didn't have anybody really to talk to, except for myself, I suppose. But it is what it is. Tomorrow we'll have some form of content. I'm not sure yet. We have a lot of different games that are good right now that we need to try and kind of play through and play along with. We have GT7, we have Project Motor Racing, which is kind of on the lower end of on the list right now, but they do have a couple of things that GT7 doesn't currently have right now, which is what I want to go over there and do some online ranked racing and stuff like that. Some time trialing. The time trialing is much more in depth over there than it is here on GT7. I don't care for street cars and stuff like that personally. I'm not a big fan of road cars and time trials on comfort hard tires. I'm good. So that's why I never time trial on GT7, because 90% of the time it's absolutely garbage cars that you would never actually race on that particular combination in real life. That's just Gran Turismo doing Gran Turismo things, and there's nothing wrong with that, but so yeah, we have lots of different content coming from day to day to day to day to day. So I mean, I guess it depends what kind of content you're into watching. We have World of Warships going on. We may start playing some Delta Force here now too as well this week. And you won't catch me playing Arc Raiders. You have to pay for the game. I can't afford to be buying games right now. So the content is to what we have in our library, and that's it right now. But so yeah, I mean I don't know. I am personally bored with GT7 as well. I still enjoy my championships and doing the commentary on them, but for me personally, I've lost all my draw to want to race here. The little bit of glimmer and hope that I had left for GT7 to keep me on the racetrack kind of disappeared recently in the last couple days, so yeah, I mean, I've been grinding the hell out of this game for 4 years now. I'm bored. They're not changing it for the better. They're not doing anything for the competitive side of the game, the server side, the online side of the game. They continue to just improve the casual part of the game and ignore the esports part of the game that's made it what it is today, essentially, in my honest opinion. So, yeah, you're all right. You're alright, ATB. No rush here. So I mean, without really making any quality assurance changes in the last 2 years, I'm kind of losing interest in GT7, right? So I'm looking for other stuff to be racing in myself as well. But I mean, the one thing GT7 has that everything else doesn't have is it has a great, beautiful looking game and a great spectator mode, which really allows for great viewing as a viewer. The audio and visual quality is fantastic. But for me, on a racer level, on a personal level, I am quite bored with Gran Turismo. There was only one championship I was looking forward to running here in the oncoming season, and it doesn't look like I'm going to get to run it, so I'm probably going to be stepping away from a racing aspect GT7 for a while, if not permanently, until the next title comes out, because I'm just not happy with where the online part of this game is. I'm not happy with the physics model. I'm not happy with how easy it is to cheat the game, cheat the cars, and cheat your lap times. There's just too many things in this game that can be utilized and taken advantage of, and for the players that know how to utilize it, it's an unfair advantage to the rest of the gaming community. So I'm starting to lose interest in GT7. I need to see something better than a new car. Oh, well, I guess I don't need to watch the Formula 1 race after this today. Thanks, Hellcat. I've had no time to do anything for myself today. I've been dealing with GT7 update game glitch issues all day, so yeah. I have the game. We played it on release day. It was garbage. We played it the following Friday. They put the patch out for it. It was better, but I cannot connect to online lobbies, so until they put the next patch in, there's no point in me playing Project Motor Racing, because the only thing I have available to me is the solo player part of the game, and that's not the part of the game I'm looking for racing in. I'm looking for the multiplayer side of the game, and I cannot connect to lobbies. Their game tells me that my internet is too bad, even though I'm literally hosting a lobby, live streaming, and can race on GT7. But my internet's too bad. So there's a lot of problems with PMR yet. It still needs work, and I mean, they bottled it. Just like Rensport, they flopped. So, we'll see what happens over time. So yeah, I'm kind of in limbo right now, so I'm just all over the place with what I'm playing. We'll leave it at that. All right, so ATB should be here any second now. We're just a hair over that window, and I do need to get the race started, so we'll give them a couple more minutes here. Project Motor Racing has potential, but I gotta set the grid. Well, let's do that. Okay, ATB's on his way, so we'll get started here in just a couple minutes time. Kind of sucks for ATB because he's literally going to be jumping right into the fire here, so but you know what, that's the way it goes sometimes with racers. I totally get that. So yeah, I mean, no, I'm not trying to knock on GT7. It's a great game. Don't get me wrong. It's still the best sim racing title on PlayStation 5. I laugh because it's not really a simulated title in my opinion. This is very simcady to me. ACC is a simulation. Rensport is a simulation. Project Motor Racing is supposed to be a simulation. Forza is an arcade. Right, so GT7 is right there, barely above Forza in my opinion as far as its physics engine goes. It's not the real driving simulator. It is a real driving simulator because the cars and that are kind of real, right? You know, everything about them, the design, the shape, the way they look, you know, the specs in the cars is all kind of real life situation, right? So it is the real driving simulator, but it is not a simulated sim racing game. That's where they get you. They've always been called the real driving simulator since the day they released 26 years ago. That'll never change, right? But they have a long ways to go before I consider them to be a simulation as opposed to a simcade. And that's why I'm losing interest in it. It's designed for if you know how to utilize the glitches, the bugs, and the advantages in the game, then it will give you an advantage over the rest of the racers. And that's why I'm not happy with it. They continue not to attend to that stuff. They just continue to let it go. So yeah, as a racer, I'm very frustrated right now because there's just not a whole lot of option for me per se. I always enjoy doing the commentary and all that great stuff, but alright, let's ready up the drivers here. Now let's get to racing. Let's get to the stuff that's fun. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of mixed content throughout the weeknights here at GT45 Gaming. Like I said, we were live for about 6 and some plus hours yesterday. This will be our live stream, obviously, for today. And then, Monday, Tuesday, whether it be a couple hours or 4 hours, whatever I can squeeze in, we'll have some form of content out there for everybody. So whether it be GT7 Open Lobby Night or a commentary, or it be a PMR night, or it be a World Warships night or a Delta Force night. Whatever the case may be. We're definitely a lot later than we normally would be, but let's get this going. You're welcome, ATB. This is for charity at the end of the day, and that's what matters the most. That's why we're here. That's why we continue to do it. and we'll continue bringing championships from Gran Turismo 7. I mean, that's not going to change from GT45 gaming. It's just as a racer, I'm not that interested right now. So I was. Like I said, there was a couple of championships I was definitely interested in this upcoming season, but that's not going to work out for me per se. So yeah, there's no reason for me to race on GT7 right now, except for, those open lobby nights, community racing fun, right? Alright, so again, that Supra, Ferrari of Supra, pardon me, gets a great launch off the start. The Porsche always sluggish at the race start. There you see Jay barely holding on to P2 here as he starts to get up to race space, as Dylan is rolling right in behind here. And we got all the pros going through. Ooh, we got Jakey just a little bit in the sand there as he was a little tight there side by side through turns 1 and 2 there, and he manages to keep it underneath him there with both 4 GTs making a little bit of a touch on each other there, so I believe that was Sheriff and Jakey. And then we've got Miss Devious and Streeter Tom here in 7th place. So very early on here, we have a very patient race start here, so that's fantastic. With the pros, are usually like that. The ones that can get in early grab on position will most certainly take advantage of it and get the job done, but for the most part, we usually see pretty decent patience here. So we are watching very closely here this week. Again, there is issues with the servers here in Gran Turismo 7 this weekend. It was something that we spent a lot of time on this morning trying to sort out whether or not we should even race today for the sake of the championship, fair play for our racers, but also, for the sake of St. Jude's charity, right? We decided that at the end of the day, if it goes completely sour and south, then we can just call that race as a squashed race. Everybody got a little bit of seat time and experience, and the charity still wins because it still gets content and fundraising efforts. So at the end of the day, we're trying to keep fair play in motion, and also considering the real reason we're here this season is for the charity. We decided that we were going to race here today, but that decision wasn't fully officially announced until an hour before race time. So everybody can tell kind of what I've had on my plate here today. I've been trying to sort out all this stuff. We put it to a driver vote at the end of the day is what it ultimately came down to, and it wasn't unanimous, but it was an overwhelming enough response to make the call. So we race, and I mean, I'm glad to see that. We've had to cancel races during championships in the past. A nice side-by-side battle with Miss Devious and ATV here, as ATV just gets ahead there and slips in front of Miss Devious. But I mean, we've also had 100% undeniable proof that the game is just outright broken, and it's just not going to work for that round of racing. So we have postponed, rescheduled, and or canceled races in the past. This one was a tough one to decide because, like I said, we have so much going on here. We have a charity foundation involved with this. We got multiple live streamers with multiple lobbies going on with the championship. Anything can happen. But also at the end of the day, drivers disconnect every week. We have 1 or 2 every single week that seem to DC, even when the servers are quote-unquote running properly. So, I mean, we got to take the risk. So we did a bunch of testing here this morning. And into the afternoon, we had open lobbies up. We were running 5-lap sprint races. We were changing settings. We had random drivers coming in and out constantly. And I didn't see one issue with the lobbies. So ultimately, to me, I think it is a very situational, obviously, issue that's going on. And hopefully they, address it, I guess, in the off week. But I suspect that they will not. So, I mean, this is something we'll have to worry about next weekend as well. But so far, so good from the racers here as you get through those first couple laps, right? You get through the out lap, everybody survives the out lap, and everybody starts to get into their racing rhythm. And now as we're on our officially racing at this point, as we've had a full race pace lap come through now, starting on lap number 3. Everybody is now moving. Everybody's kind of filtered into their positions here for the most part. And battles will start developing and phasing out here as we start to move through the racetrack, and the drivers make little mistakes or little gains in and out of these corners here at Sardinia A. It's a very tricky racetrack. It's a very high-speed racetrack, but these mid-sectors, these tiny little sections where you got to make these corners, they're not easy corners, but they're not slow-speed corners either, which is obviously what makes them so difficult. So Supra here with a very early lead. a couple seconds up the road here from Dylan, currently sitting in second place with Jay Set there chasing in third position. We got Sheriff here in fourth place. We've got Streeter Tom up into fifth place. We've got Jakey here in sixth position. Steve is in behind here in seventh, and ATV in eighth place. And everybody's still relatively close to each other here as well for the most part here early on in the race. But that Ferrari is moving and grooving here right now of Supra up in first place. So I did touch on the fact that we could potentially see a soft style strategy here today. However, we could see soft style strategies as well. It depends how hard the drivers are going to push on these tires and on their race cars here. Two factors are going to play in there with the one-stop strategy here this weekend. A, tires, obviously, and B, the fuel. Some cars burn fuel a lot faster than others, and this is, like I said, a very high to mid-speed maintaining racetrack, which means we're using a fair amount of fuel. Now, the road surface here at Sardinia is surprisingly not super abrasive, so the tires actually do last a fairly decent amount of time here at Sardinia, so that is why we're most likely going to see soft tire strategies coming from our racers here this weekend, because the soft tires will hold up. So that's going to make it a fast race. So we got Jay here in third place, we've got Sheriff in fourth place, we've got Streeter Tom here in fifth place closing in, and Jakey right there starting to close back in on the pack, as well as Mischievous and ATV here in eighth place. So what we've had to do here is we have two drop rounds in the championship here this season, and some of the races obviously have lower lap counts than other races. For example, Laguna Seca, Road Atlanta, Dragon Trail Gardens, some of these smaller racetracks had a very high lap count, up inwards of the 40 to mid 40 range. But then we've had tracks like Spa, Monza, Sardinia, for example, here, which we're on right now, that will not get upwards of 30, the late 30s to the mid 40 point count. And then when we factor in drop rounds, it almost basically determines what tracks are being dropped for racers, and that's not necessarily the point of a drop round. The point of a drop round is to eliminate the racers' two worst rounds of racing, whether that be two missed rounds completely or they're just their two worst racing finishes. And in the case of how it was set up before we made an adjustment, it was going to just obviously be one of the bigger, longer racetracks, Spa, St. Croix, Le Mans, etc., etc. And so what we've done is we've added a base set of points to those rounds that are not going to get as close up into that higher lap count number. So when we factor in the drop rounds, it puts it back to the actual driver's worst race finish. So we made a pretty large points adjustment after round 7 here, and we're going to break all that down for the racers in the Discord server. And I'm just going to touch base on it here live, just so the viewers are kind of knowing what's going on too, because for those of us especially that are family of the racers, you've probably seen a massive spike in the points after round 7's points went in. Round 8's points haven't gone in yet, because it's going to start to factor in those drop rounds, and I don't want to submit the round 8 points in yet till I'm 100% sure that we've got the adjustment points correct. So that's what I was starting to work on this morning at some point as well. So what we've done is, for this race, for example, it is about a minute 40 to a minute 45 lap time around the racetrack here, which is going to give these drivers roughly around 25 to 28 laps, I think, for the race today. So they start the race with a 15-point base. So even though the race, every one of these races today could disconnect right now because of the game glitch, for example, and they've all been guaranteed 15 points. That is the base set of points for this racing round. So every driver that started on the grid here today and left at the green flag drop already has 15 points in their pocket, plus their additional points per lap, plus any obtained bonus points. So that is now going to bring that total up into the 40-ish lap count range, so it doesn't affect the drop round. So we have made a massive points adjustment retroactive right back to round 1 this season, because we've had lots of different racetracks. We've had to adjust and add base points to some of the tracks to bring all of our racing rounds upwards into about the mid 40 point range. So this championship now really does come down to the race's worst finishes here when it comes to the drop rounds. So now the drop rounds are not going to tie into the championship points and eventually really ultimately determine the champion. Jay said here was an issue somewhere along the racetrack here now, 7 seconds in behind the field, so we definitely missed what happened there. Supra's here in first place, 4.2 seconds down the road. We've got Dylan here in second position. We've got Sheriff here in third place. We've got Tom here in fourth place. We've got Jakey in fifth place. We've got Mischievous here in sixth. Jay's in seventh place there, as he's just managed to get around ATV, as ATV obviously has made a mistake as he got some front aero damage there now on the Lamborghini, so that's definitely indicative of contact with a wall or potentially another car. In this case, I think it was definitely a wall, so Jay said now catching back up, and now they're in their own little battle. So we touched on the fact that just simple little mistakes here could potentially cost the races at Sardinia, and it doesn't take much. You can see we're surrounded by walls on both sides of the racetrack, all the way around the racetrack here at Sardinia. There's plenty of racing room there. I mean, you can essentially go 3 wide into that corner. You can take the corners 2 wide here, but 3 wide is definitely not going to happen. But it is very tight in the corners, so passing into corners needs to be very strategic, and you need to be very confident in your ability going into and out of these corners as well, because you're surrounded by walls. One mistake puts you in the wall, it's just damage. City. So it is Super here in first place, with Dylan in second place. We got Sheriff here in third position, and it looks like Sheriff is doing a little communicating there with Dylan up in front with some headlight work. Oh no, and then Sheriff gets a little bit loose there and loses the back end of the car. Now, was that just because he got a little bit wide on the exit there and got outside track limits, or was it just a little too hard on the throttle kind of situation here on this cold pavement? Oof, just a little too hard on the throttle, just a hair too early, looks like, on the throttle there from Sheriff as he came around turn number 2 there, and he loses 1 position there as Jakey does get around, so he only loses 1 position there, which is definitely not as bad, but definitely unfortunate there for Sheriff. He was looking like he had a plan there with Dylan or something to try and push up towards the front of the pack, and ends up in towards the back of the pack, in the middle of the pack here anyways. So that puts Streeter Tom up into third place here. That puts Jakey up at fourth, like we said, just as Sheriff was getting back on the track here, and it's only about 5 seconds, so it definitely could have been worse for Sheriff there. He's got lots of race time left and lots of time to make up track time and lost position there from that moment on the racetrack. We got Mischievous here up at the 6th position, about 1.8 seconds in behind Sheriff. We've got Jay Set here about 6 seconds in behind Mischievous, and we got ATV right about 3 car lengths or so in behind Jay Set there, 1 second in behind as well here in 8th place. So race on here at GT45 Gaming in the Vegas Cup Series on behalf of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. So we'll take a look at the liveries here in a moment as well. So we've challenged the racers this season to come up with some old school, what was your favorite cartoon, your favorite video game, your favorite stuff when we were kids. Many of us are older now. We have a very wide-ranging age group in our community here. We have racers that are as young as 14 years old, and we have racers that are as old as in upwards of their 70s here at GT45 Gaming, and that's no joke, and that age range does vary right here in this very own championship as well. I'm not going to say who's what, but we're a very wide range group of racers here at GT45 Gaming, and many of us are in our higher years of our age than our lower years of our age now. Let's put it that way. And I forgot where I was going with that. It'll come back to me. It always does. Oh, sure. Just getting a little bit wide there in that 4GT. So that's a bold choice of 4GT. I don't really remember what started that whole thing. Right, deliveries. Deliveries to kids, right? So, many of us are back into the 70s and 80s with our memories as children, right? Or even in the 90s. So we've seen a lot of that imagery in the championship here this season, and we are going to do something pretty fun with that. We got Dylan's Minecraft McLaren here. He's been racing all season long here on the racetrack as well. He's being challenged here right now by RA Streeter Tom here in that semi-Pokemon styled RA livery there, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely. we're going to take a look at that, but right now we got a battle on our hands here for second and third place between Dylan and Streeter Tom. Dylan manages to hold Tom off here as we head around turn stream 4, I believe that was. And we start heading into the middle part of the racetrack here, so great little battle here right now between Tom and Dylan. Maybe they weren't battling, maybe they're just working together, but that sure looked like a battle to me. I'm just saying. They worked side by side there for a little bit. Alright, so Sheriff is about 5 seconds behind Jakey, so he hasn't lost any time to Jakey here right now, which is a great thing, and Jakey has not given any time up back to Sheriff, which is also a great thing for Jakey. Mischievous is about 4 seconds in behind Sheriff, so Sheriff has opened up a little bit of time on Mischievous. Are in 6th place. Jay is about 6 seconds in behind, so closing in, I think, here on Mischievous, and ATV is about a second in behind Jay. That might be 2 seconds. It is 2 seconds as they head up the racetrack. And remember now, ATV literally just jumped out of the car and jumped into his rig from wherever it was that him and his family were here leading into the race. So he is coming in as cold as it gets as well. So it's going to probably take him a few minutes to kind of get into a warm-up position and really start to get into his rhythm. We definitely appreciate him being here. We definitely appreciate the dedication from the racers. I mean, this is a championship that is in memory of a fallen community member here at GT45 Gaming and several other sim racing communities around the sim racing community world as well. You know, with Paul Bloomstrom, in cooperation with, of course, the amazing family. They've been behind us every step of the way here this season. They've, you know, working with us in behind the scenes, even helping us with some of the setup of the championship, you know, certain things they would, you know, certain little requests and certain little things like that, just to make it a little more personal, right? So we don't get an opportunity to get that much involvement when it comes to a championship like we have with this championship. So this really is a special championship, and a lot of the racers are just wanting to be here for, you know, for that support and for that reason. And at the end of the day, of course, you know, we're going to try and make a little extra cash for St. Jude's Children's Research Foundation as well in the process, which I think is fantastic, to be honest. You know, Paul was a pretty great guy. He had a great attitude, you know, he had an infectious personality, and it was almost impossible not to fall in love with the guy in a sense because of how he was. You know, he was very humble, but very ambitious. And you know, I think if he would have had more time here with us, you know, this guy would have been the limit for him, I think. And I mean, you know, we're just trying to keep what he started kind of going in his memory, right? You know, giving back to that community and trying to remain positive and foregoing, right? You know, life isn't easy. I get that. We all have our ups and downs. Ooh, we got yellow flag here up in front of Miss Devious, and it is Jakey just getting back on track. Here's Miss Devious now comes around. So Miss Devious and Sheriff here have closed in. Looks like Sheriff maybe made a mistake as well as Miss Devious now moves up into P4 there, so a couple of quick positions gained there from Miss Devious, and as the damage wears away from Jake's car, we'll see if he starts to apply some pressure there back and try to get that position back. But ooh boy, little mistakes here definitely making a difference. Tom is maintaining that gap to super up in the race lead here right now. Dylan is doing his best to do the same. Tom has made his way around Dylan as well, improved himself up into second place, and Dylan down into third place. So that puts Miss Devious about 14 seconds in behind the podium, and Jake all over the rear bumper here. So basically all the drivers from under the podium essentially have made some form of mistake or another to put themselves back a little bit, and are now trying to climb back up. So it's making it for an interesting race here throughout the field for sure. Sheriff here now. Sheriff there. Sheriff here in 6th place as well. I'm not sure what's on this car. Let's go take a little peek-sees here. Looks like just a custom St. Jude style livery here today. It is. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Now, it's not required that the drivers had to do this. Obviously, it was just for those that chose to do so. Some drivers just opted to stay with, their own liveries. And some drivers have opted to go, to the extreme. And some drivers, we've seen some great liveries come out this championship season as well. We got the Spider-Man Lamborghini here as well from ATV. That's another positive in a sense, I guess, for Gran Turismo 7 over a lot of the other games is obviously the livery designing capabilities. It's fantastic, and I guess in order to provide all the graphical features and aesthetic appeal into a game, you're probably having to sacrifice physics, right? So. It makes sense why GT7 is what I like to call a simcade, obviously. It is not full-off arcade mode, right? I mean, it's not a full arcade game by any stretch of the imagination. There is basis to what's going on in the game, which is why I call it a simcade. It's not fully simulated as far as the physics go, but it's also not ignored in the physics as well, I guess. So, that's the best way. Alright, so we got pit tops coming from Supra, Streeter Tom, and Dylan here up in the front of the pack. We are only at the 22-minute mark, so it looks like two-stop tire strap. Coming from some of our racers here. That kind of makes sense, right? You're going to run 20 minutes on the soft tires, you're going to dump about a half a tank of fuel, give or take, and come back out on a fresh set of softs. You'll have lower fuel, which should make you a little bit faster around the racetrack, which should gain you time. And then when you come back out on that third tire stint, essentially it's the same thing. You come back out with give or take 50% fuel for your entire run, and you have half the weight in the gas tank for the car, so again, you should be able to maintain that second stint pace or make it even a little better depending how the car is feeling at that point. So interesting strategies. We may not see drivers change tires here. We may just see splash and dashes from the racers here as well. But Jakey in the race lead with Miss Davies here in second place. That puts Supra here in third position with ATV right behind him 1 second in fourth place. We got Streeter Tom just 2.9 seconds, so about 4 seconds in behind Supra right now. With ATV in between. We got Dylan right there in sixth place, 2.6 seconds in behind Streeter Tom. Sheriff had pit, I think, a lap before, potentially. Currently sitting in seventh, and we got Jay in eighth after making his pit stop here as well. Ooh-wee. Jakey getting it a little bit wrong out of the kink there, and that is very hard to get right, in all honesty, and we'll try and do an onboard lap with a race later at some point here. Throughout the race, see exactly what I mean about that, get a little bit of a more in-cockpit view of what the drivers are dealing with in that corner. It can be easy to get wrong, and when you get it wrong, it can create a pretty heavy incident potentially as well, depending on how wrong you got it. So should be interesting. Alright, Jakey in the race lead, 2 seconds over 10 tenths with Davies, who has 6 seconds over Supra. Supra is at 2.2 seconds in front of ATV, so he has managed to start to lose a little bit of gap to ATV. Obviously, different tires, different tire wear on the two cars. Puts Streeter Tom 1.3 seconds in behind ATV. Dylan is 3.3 seconds in behind Tom, and Sheriff and Jay are trailing behind just by a little teeny bit here on the racetrack. So you can see, like I said, it is evening time here on the racetrack. Normally we do a double reset to our lobby before we start the race, just to put it back to the initial race time where it should be when I open the lobby up. Obviously, I open the lobby half an hour before we go live. That's a lot of racers to come in, warm up, practice before race time, get a feel for the lobby. Every time you set up a lobby, whoever the lobby host is, the track may feel slightly different than another lobby host. Don't know why that is. It shouldn't be like that, but that is the way it is. So it just gives the racers a little bit of a chance to get attuned to the particular lobby host for that race week or race round or race day or race in general. But then normally we reset that to bring it back to that exactly starting time of day from when we open the lobby, so the racers are getting the proper starting time that they're supposed to. But because of the issues in the game going on this weekend, we didn't want to mess with the lobbies any more than we had to, so resetting lobbies, changing lobby settings, for example, all those things are all potential contributing factors to creating a DC issue or a glitch or a lag issue in the lobby. Regardless of how strong my internet connection is or everybody else's internet connection is, it's in the lobby today. That is the way it is. So, just glad to see we got the race today. Let's put it that way. It's going to be an interesting one. We got different strategies on the racetrack, and we've seen that a lot this season here from Split 1 and Split 2 as well, really, as far as that goes. But Split 2 seems to be a little more cut and dry on the strategies. They seem to be a lot more like they're exchanging information. Everybody's kind of sticking to the same strategy type deal. There are varying strategies, obviously, but not quite as much as the pro lobby is. And we have seen 3 to 4 different strategies in one particular race as far as tire strategy goes from these racers with this open tire strategy. And that's kind of what we're hoping to see this season. We wanted to make the settings aggressive enough to where the drivers had to make pit stops, obviously, but we don't want to be dictating when those pit stops are happening. We don't want to be specifically designing a one-stop race, so to speak, right? So we just kind of try to throw a whole bunch of question marks up in the air and leave it up to the racers to decide how they're going to navigate these things. Most times in leagues, you don't have the open freedom like this, like we have left in this championship. You know, changing cars every round if you want, cost the drivers nothing. If they use 3 cars, different cars, and complete the races in those 3 different cars this season, they get awarded a one-time deal of 10 bonus points, which is up in the Discord server right now. Most of the drivers have opted to take advantage of that bonus and have submitted their cars for verification for those bonus points, which will be reflected in the round 9 points. And then, of course, any drivers that claim that, obviously up to the end of the season, will be reflected in the previous or the next racing round's points to reflect that change. So, we got Sheriff here in 6th place now. We got J-Set here in 7th position, and we got ATV in 8th place as well. So, lots going on. So much going on in this championship. It's been a very extensive championship from setup to drop to where we are right now, 9 weeks later, into the championship, and about ready to crown our champions next season. And I can confirm that it is still a pro-am racer that is actually holding our overall championship right now here at the Vegas Cup Series. So we are potentially looking at our very first ever Vegas Cup Series overall champion potentially being a pro-am driver. That, to me, in my opinion, is actually really, really cool. And I was really hoping that was a result that we were potentially going to get with this new point system we put in this season test. We may have something here. We really, really, really may have something here with this point system. It's not perfect. We've had to make a pretty big adjustment due to a large oversight from the beginning of the season, obviously. But now with that revision, and it seems like a pretty logical revision in my opinion as well, which we'll see how that plays out here, I guess. But I think we've really honed this point system in to a really solid foundation anyways. To a really solid foundation. It definitely needs work. There's still things that we can do with it. There's definitely a lot more bonus points we can make available yet as well with this style of point system. But it is doing exactly what we were hoping it would do. It's keeping the standings pretty close for the most part here, and it is potentially allowing a lesser skilled driver to win an overall championship title over a highly experienced racer. So, I mean, that is exactly what we're hoping for out of this point system, for it to be that tight that it could potentially go even to an AM driver at the end of the season. And that's not out of the realm of possibilities either, ladies and gentlemen. I believe there's an AM driver in 7th or 8th place overall in the standings currently here as well. So, I mean, up in the top 10 there, with a field of like 38 drivers registered or something, or 32 drivers, pardon me, registered or something like that this season. Is that what it was? It may have been a little more than that. I think it was 38 at the start of the season anyway. We've had some complications throughout the season. We've lost a couple of racers here and there. Some racers have had to bow out for other reasons. Sometimes real life just factors in, and all of a sudden the schedule doesn't work anymore. You know, lots of things can happen throughout the race season. So we have lost some of our racers here this season, but for the most part, we're still holding the majority of the field. And we do track and document race starts, race finishes, who shows up, who hasn't showed up, you know, and that goes into essentially a permanent record here at GT45 Gaming, so to speak. It's something we do behind the scenes here. Every racer has a tracking record, essentially, for competitive races, for official championship races and events, and how many, you know, they didn't make when they registered for commitment seats and stuff like that, right? So a lot of those things are tracked and documented for information purposes, and if we need to make a tough decision, you know, we have that information to go back and rely on. So haven't really had to do too much of that. We haven't had to go back and check data tracking for racers up to this point, but as you know, we get into different sims, we grow the community larger due to different sims, then we very well could start having those issues, right? So the more that we figure out now, the better for the future. You know, we have PMR. I'm hopeful for PMR. Hellcat was mentioning it a little bit earlier in the stream there as well, and not in great shape right now, but with the IMSA partnership, I suspect that is going to change, so I'm holding on to that glimmer of hope that the IMSA partnership with Project Modern Racing is going to be the difference maker in that game, and the devs getting the work done to get it fine-tuned in a better condition than it is now, because whoever forced them to release this game a couple of weeks ago should be kicked pretty hard in the mid-region for releasing a very, very, very unready game. They have since made it better, but it's still unplayable for many, many people because of server issues over there too as well, right? So we got server issues here on GT7 right now, we've got server issues on Project Motor Racing. Rennsport, people just don't seem all that interested in on the console because there's not really any available content. And I mean, Forza players are Forza players. The Forza players are going to play Forza, but they're not doing what we're doing here over on Forza. So and we got ACC, which is dwindling on the console slowly but surely, and has been for a couple of years now, as obviously new titles are coming up and people are starting to invest in PCs as well. So you know, we're going to start building different variants of the community. We got NASCAR, iRacing NASCAR out, which seems to be fairly popular within the community as well. That's a whole different type of chaos right there. As Streeter Tom is closing in on Superboy here now as well for this overall race lead. We got Dylan here in 3rd place, 6.7 seconds in behind with Sheriff. Now up in the 4th place, 16 seconds in behind. That puts Jakey in 5th place here with Jay chasing in 6th position. We got 1010 Festivious here in 7th place, and we got ATB still holding strong here in 8th place. And I mean, like I said, appreciate him being here today. He absolutely did everything he could just to get from a real life obligation to into his rig to come race here for the St. Jude's Children's Research Foundation today. So much love to ATV, and as long as he stays on the lead lap, that's really all that matters to him right now. Right there in 8th place as far as I'm concerned, because that keeps him in the same point scale as the rest of the racers. So I mean, really, that's what he just needs to push for here. He doesn't need to really push for a position in the backside of the field here at this point, because they don't get any bonus points past 3rd place for your position on track, right? It's about the lap count, so you're ultimately trying to maximize your time around the racetrack, and that's why we're seeing some racers use a different pit strategy than other racers. But it does appear that the two the two-stop and the one-stop are going to be very close to each other here. So yeah, we're gonna build different variants of the sim racing community all into one spot here at GT45 Gaming. That's gonna make for some interestingness for sure. But it's also gonna hopefully make for transitioning between sim games from racers as well, right? GT7 racers are racing on GT7 and now moving over to PMR to race there. Maybe we have PMR racers that are coming from the Project Cars organization and then starting to dabble in GT7, or maybe we've got both platforms dabbling into NASCAR, right? And you got the NASCAR kid maybe coming in and starting to dabble into the street circuit racing, right? So things are going to get very interesting over the next few months. Let's put it that way. There's so many different games and titles going on here right now. It is very hard to decide where to put our time and our presence, I guess. So we're just gonna put it everywhere for a little bit. And I think what we're gonna do is we're probably gonna do that for a month. I think we'll try to get a consistent routine of different games every day type thing. And then I think what we'll do is we'll just compare the viewership on those titles from one day to the next, from one title to the next, and 1 week to the next as well. And then I guess maybe we can decide where our direction for the next little while for GT45 Gaming is based off of that. But it's tough right now because we've got some great new sim racing titles out. They're just not really ready for this yet, for competitive racing yet. They will get there eventually, and then when they do get there, is GT7 the go-to is the bigger question. On a visual appeal, it is most certainly the go-to, but on a racing appeal, it may not be the go-to. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out here. But for now, it is most certainly GT7, and this battle for the race lead is heating up here on lap number 21. So we've got 23 laps remaining. I think this race has a base points of 5. I'll have to look at my sheet. I have a sheet, it's just not anywhere near me of all the changes that we made. It may be 5 on this one. I thought it was going to be like a 28 lap count here, but we've still got 23 minutes on the clock, so this is actually going to be more along the lines of a mid-30s lap count here. So I may have just put a 5-point line on this race. I don't remember. Without looking at the sheet right off the top of my head, I don't remember. Again, the whole point of the baseline points is to bring the race value over 40 points. So we're trying to keep all the races right in between the 40 to 50 point range marker. That way there we can literally just eliminate the 2 worst racing rounds from each racer. Now, you're still going to keep your bonus points. If something happens that you get, round 4 is one of your drop rounds, but you happen to have fastest lap in that round, you will not lose your fast lap racing points. You'll still keep your 2 bonus points for your fast lap, but we will remove the lap count points off of that overall standings due to the drop round. So the racers will keep their bonus points. Bonus points are points that are collected and kept throughout the season, regardless of the situation here for our racers. Drop rounds do not affect bonus points, so that includes fastest lap points, first, second, and third place bonus points in the case of this particular season. And you will not lose those points. And the base points, however, though, do get dropped with the drop round. However, though, in each round for each driver. So, like I said, if you end up having a bad racing round and that turns out to be your drop round, but you decide to make a call and go for the fastest lap and manage to get the fastest lap in that race, you'll still keep those 2 bonus points for your fastest lap. So you will not lose any bonus points, at least through your drop rounds. So that's kind of what we're looking for here. Now, the race finale, obviously being the Nürburgring and being about an 8.5 minute lap, 8.25 minute lap, depending on the driver. Obviously is going to not give us a high lap count, so we've had to add a pretty hefty base to the Nürburgring GP just to bring that up into that 40-point range. However, with that being said, we are also making the finale the biggest points race of the season. So it is ensured that the Nürburgring 24-hour race coming up next weekend is the biggest points gain potential of the season. So there's a reason for that. It's the finale. It's supposed to be like that, and doesn't necessarily make it mean it's not going to be a drop round. However, though, keeping in mind for the racers, because if that turns out to be one of their worst race finishes of the season, it will be their drop round. So with that being said, they could very well lose the biggest points potential scale of the season due to drop rounds as well, and that is why we had to balance the points to make sure that when the drop rounds factor in, it is fair and you don't get an advantage just due to the simple fact is because you just raced an 8.5-minute lap around a racetrack, and in a 90-minute race you only got a dozen laps in, you only got 12 points in. Right? So that was the basis of it. Basically, we dictated which rounds were going to get dropped, and why should a racer even show up for that racing round if it's just going to be a drop round anyways, right? So it becomes a fair play issue. Alright, so we got pit stops from Supra, we got pit stop from Dylan. Tom has opted to stay out for another time around here. Sheriff is diving into pit lane here as well. What is Jakey going to do as he comes around the final corner here? Is he going to jump into pit lane? No, he's going to continue to go around. What is Jay said thinking here? Jay is going to come into pit lane. Mischievous coming around here is going to go around. We don't even need to think about that one. And ATB is also going to do the same thing here, it looks like. So Streeter Tom's still out. And now with a very large racing lead here, he has about 31 seconds currently over Supra, and does need to make a pit stop though, so we'll give some of that time back up. Where he ends up in relation is the bigger question. I don't think it's probably too wise for him to go another lap beyond this now that obviously the guys that he's trying to beat here in the race have made their pit stops already. He's going to want to bring it in this time around. A 1 lap overcut can still work in your favor, but when you start trying to push that to 2, 3, 4 lap overcut, you're starting to hurt yourself because they are on fresh racing rubber and you are not, and that could potentially definitely hurt your time around the racetrack. So I assume we're going to see Tom come into pit lane as he comes around the final corner here on this particular lap. Yeah, we know our races fairly well for the most part, and I mean that's just basic racing 101 right there. Alright, so Super gets it wrong there, gets it really wide. Cheeky is starting to apply some pressure here in 3rd position. We've got Dylan here in 4th place, about 8 seconds in behind at the podium. Mischievous is about 2.6 seconds in behind Dylan. ATB chasing 3 seconds in behind. That gives Sheriff 11 seconds up to ATB and 12 seconds for J2 Sheriff. Streeter Tom is in pit lane and coming out, so let's stay with Streeter Tom here and see where he comes out in relation to Supra. Supra is coming up this front straight at race pace with Jakey in behind, and Jakey and Supra are both going to make the pass here on Streeter Tom. So all our pit stops are officially almost in the books here as we see ATB coming into pit lane here right now as well. So the Supra in the race lead, Jakey chasing very close behind, only 0.3 seconds here, and Streeter Tom is just in behind those two by about a second. So we have a 3-way battle potentially brewing here for P1 through P3, and ATB still in pit lane there. J-Set and Sheriff should get those positions there, as I see both those just jump ahead there as ATB is getting that last pit stop, but will come back out in P8 there. Alright, but a great battle here up front between Dylan, Jakey, and Superboy. Second laptop me what I wanted to do to change the cell before I even got over. That's fantastic. The laptop and just perfectly click something. Alright, so Supra, Jakey is 0.6, 0.8 in behind right now. Got Tom sitting right on Jakey's doorstep. We got Dylan just 8 seconds in behind, with Mischievous just 4 seconds in behind them. Sheriff J-Set chasing in 6th and 7th place here, 13 and 14 seconds in behind, and ATB has about 4 seconds to J-Set. So racy, gamey. Let's see who hits our top 3 today. It's a great race here developing between our race leaders here. I mean, first, second, and third place are separated by a second right now. That's it. Not a whole lot. 2 car lengths right now. Super gaining a little bit more of a gap advantage there as we head into the second last corner of the racetrack here. We still have this large right-hand sweeping corner to take us to the start-finish line here. The gap is 1.1 seconds though, however, so Streeter Tom now up into P2 here too as well. So 1.1 seconds is the gap between Supra and Tom. Jakey has about half a second in behind Streeter Tom, and Dylan has 7 seconds and closing. ATB closing in on J-Set here as well. Something happened here. Just reading a couple of messages on Discord. Like I said, it's been a very busy day. I'm so far behind on everything today. I'm literally trying to do 3 things at once while streaming here today. ATB has just managed to get around Jay here, but Jay is not letting that go very easily here as he is, or was challenging for that position there, but ATB does get the position from J-Set there, and as we head into the kick, J-Set glued to the rear bumper of ATB there, but both drivers get through nice and tidy there, and no response back from J-Set here so far. Alright, so it is Streeter Tom here in the race lead. Not sure what happened there, but boy oh boy, there is some damage on Supra's car. Let's see if we can catch even a hint of what happened there. No. Looked like it must have been coming out of the final corner if I had to guess. J and ATB battling it out right here for 7th and 8th position here on the track, as ATB is going to defend the inside line here, as Jay is going to just sit him beside on the outside here. He got a good run on ATB there, didn't quite have enough steam to get past him there, so he just made sure he kept the car in beside him there. And see what happened when they went in and out of the corner. But ATV still holding strong here as JSet is all over the rear bumper of that Lamborghini Huracan there right now. Looked like he was just giving him a little bit of a push up the straightaway there, and again has to find himself stuck on the outside. And ooh, ATV goes a little bit deep there, and Jay tried to over under but did not have the space, and he has to settle back in behind ATV there. So that was a great attempt from JSet there to try and get that real hard on the brakes there and get the car to rotate in underneath ATV there, but unfortunately for Jay, the ill timing, and oh no, ATV gets it a little bit wrong. No potential contact there between JSet and ATV, I think, and Jay is going to sit in behind and wait and make sure not to take that position. And then he does take the position. They are in a chat and communicating with each other, so that was most likely something that was discussed between the two of them there. To me, it did look like the ATV just caught the exit, the track edge on the exit there. And unfortunately, we didn't tag it in time, so we're not going to be able to see what happened there. But I think that ATV actually may have just caught the grass on the exit of the kink there, and that may have been actually what caused him to go around, and Jay was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, potentially. That might have been exactly what was going on there, but Jay figured maybe he might have been at fault for that incident, regressing the situation, which is also the right thing to do. So a little bit of communication between the two drivers and the two teams there, and they obviously got it sorted out. That's what it looks like to me. I know that these guys are in chat together as well, but ATV actually might not be in that chat because he got into the race late. But nonetheless, that's exactly what that looked like to me anyways. Alright, so just straighter down 4 seconds up in front here. We have Jakey now up into P2 here with Supra in third place. Supra took a little bit of a look there down the inside of turn number 1 and 2, but Jakey had it covered off there. And as we head into turn number 4, Jakey is still ahead of Supra, but Supra is applying some pressure here. So it's all going to come down to what does everybody's tires look like. I don't know if we might just be seeing a pit stopper coming here from one of maybe more than one of our drivers. Definitely looks like we may have a pit stop coming for one with 8 minutes left on the track yet. So we got Jakey here in second position. We got Super here in third place. We got Dylan in 4th position, closing in quickly as well. Mischievous is about 11 seconds behind in 5th place. We got Sheriff here in 6th place, starting to track Mischievous down a little bit here. And then we got JSet and ATV fighting it out here in 7th and 8th place, out pretty good here as well. So ATV has no damage on the racing car because it is on light this season, meaning it does go away after 30 seconds time. We decided to do that because of the MR challenge. These cars can snap out of nowhere and all of a sudden you just go into the wall for no reason, and we didn't want the drivers to pay the price of heavy damage for just an MR being an MR car. I mean, you know, just doing what they do. So we decided to put it on light this season, and that allows the racers just to keep going, and it costs you time on the racetrack still with light damage. You have to carry that damage for upwards of 30 seconds. So I mean, if you have full engine damage, you know, that 30 seconds of carrying that full engine damage definitely hurts, but it doesn't hurt as bad as having to make a full lap around pit to fix the damage, right? So it just keeps the potential for the racing to stay closer and tighter, and not to have the drivers lose incentive throughout the season as well is a big part of it. You know, it's racers lose incentive when you start to slide down the standings through the year. Sometimes, you know, maybe you're on a little bit of a bad run and you start to lose ground in the standings. You know, that is enough reason for a racer just to stop showing up for races alone, right? So it's just a racer thing. It's just the way it goes. So we try to do what we can to keep the drivers motivated and with incentive to show up week in and week out. It's not easy to do, and some drivers are just dedicated and they made a commitment and they're going to show up here regardless of what's going on, right? And that is the case, and some drivers just love to race and just don't miss races, but sometimes life kicks in, right? So we have to have flexibility. So Supra has gotten back around Jakey here now. Not too surprised to see that obviously happen, based off of what we can see there on the screen. Got Dylan here in 4th place, and he's closing in on Jakey here now as well, so he may be looking for a podium position here with 5.5 minutes remaining on the clock as well yet, as he continues to try and chase down Jake in 4th place there. We've got Misdevious here in a 5th position, a little bit off of that front pack there with Sheriff 4.6 seconds in behind. We've got Jay and ATV having a nice little fight here in the 7th and 8th place as well between the two of them. And moving and grooving. Moving and grooving. Four minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. We're just keeping an eye on that battle there to see if we can re-stem up there a little bit. But Jay put a couple car lengths in behind ATB there for the time being. So, or ATB. Yeah, no, that's the right way. Literally just looking at it and I already just could not remember what was going on. I am a little out of it today. Just not quite 100% there today, apparently. Don't forget to like and share the stream up before we head out to do whatever it is that we're going to do after viewing here. And thank you for being here, and we appreciate your viewership and your support at GT45 Gaming. And we hope to see you back here again, you know, over the next few days while we continue to bring various forms of content to the YouTube channel here. So, Facebook Gaming has officially squashed a gaming platform. In 2026 it'll be completely dead as of December 5th. There's no more support for the gaming creators, so we've lost all our support, and as of basically 2026 we'll no longer have subscriptions or memberships available to us anymore. So the YouTube channel is home and will remain home for until we decide to stop streaming, I guess, here now. We have other channels. We have Twitch page, we have Kick, we have all those channels as well. We'll probably fire them back up in the future, but YouTube channel is going to be the main source of entertainment here. So for our Facebook viewers, I mean, I'm sorry, that's out of my hands, right? There's nothing I can do about that. Facebook decided to shut down the gaming platform completely, so we are now just regular Facebook content out there with all the other content on Facebook, and I'm not going to sit there and fight with that. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's unfortunate, you know, we put a lot of time and effort into Facebook to get monetized over there and start making money over there for them just to shut the platform down. So here we are back to YouTube trying to get monetized and start making money for the page again. I have no idea why I can't actually turn that on right now. We meet all of the requirements currently. So what am I missing? There's something I'm missing. But anyways, that's the goal. The YouTube channel is where all the action is going to be here from now on. We're actually going to be completely deleting the Facebook gaming page at this point because it's useless. It's not going to exist anymore. You're not going to be able to find videos. Not going to be able to find any of that anymore over there. So we are going to shut the gaming page officially down over on Facebook here next coming over the Christmas holidays. However, with that being said, though, all of our Facebook groups and communities and stuff that's still going on Facebook will remain. None of that will be affected by the gaming platform shutdown. That is, Facebook groups, separate entities. So all of that will still remain the same. So please feel free to continue posting in the GT45 Gaming Facebook groups and stuff like that. Posting your live streams, posting your clips, posting, all the stuff that you guys post in there all the time. It's always pretty good stuff that you guys are posting in there. It's fun to watch. But just giving everybody a heads up, this is stuff that's important for our viewers. I'm losing over 1,200 followers by Facebook shutting down their platform over there. We have 573 subscribers over here on YouTube, which means we're missing roughly 600 of our members over here on the YouTube channel right now, in comparison to Facebook. So we have some work to do, right? So we definitely need you guys to just help me out a little bit here as we get back into the rhythm and swing of things. And definitely, even if it's just popping in for a few seconds, to give me a like real quick, that is really important to help the YouTube algorithm out right now. The likes are the big thing here. The sharing is important for the fundraising. The sharing is important for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital and the foundation. The likes are important for the YouTube algorithm. Doing a lot of research on YouTube lately. They are changing the way that YouTube operates. We are, I'm not competing against content creators in my local area anymore. So call it North America or the Western region of North America. I am up against content creators across the globe now. YouTube is completely changing the way that they're operating and the way that the algorithms are going to work. And the one big thing that is going to be huge is that like button. We've added a bunch of tags and stuff like that to the descriptions, if you have noticed already. And these are all things and taking steps to get back into that global platform as a page here, because we need to. That's going to grow the page. It's going to give us better reach so we can continue to do great fundraising efforts like we have here for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. It allows us to continue putting on great championship events here for our racers through Gran Turismo 7 or whatever sim it may end up being. We'll have events through all the sims at some point in time or another here as we progress, but it is Streeter Tom with the win here in round 9. Supra is going to hold off for a P2 here today. Pardon me. Dylan is managing to get that P3 away from Jakey, and now Jakey's under fire from Sheriff here as Sheriff comes flying in here. Jakey is just surviving at this point here, and I don't even know if he's gonna make it. He's gonna spin around the final corner as he just has zero he has zero right side tires here right now, and he's got to try and get that thing turned around and get it going in a straight line here before Misdevious gets around and takes yet another position away from him there. And he was doing his best he could just to try and make the corner there, but the tires just were not having any of it. And Jakey spins out, losing a position to Sheriff right at the end of the race there. And Misdevious is out of fuel. So the 666 Porsche here is going to roll to the start-finish line there under no fuel power. Oof. Tough one there for 10/10 Miss Devious. So we just got to make sure we got that. All right, so unofficially, here in round 9 for split number 1, pardon me, it is R.A. Streeter Tom with the race win and the fast lap on track. It is Supra here in 2nd place, Dylan in 3rd position, Sheriff in 4th place, Jakey in 5th place, 10/10 Misdevious in 6th place, ATB in 7th place, and J-Set in 8th position. So there's not going to be any podium interviews here again today. Again, with these small lobbies, I typically don't do podium interviews just due to the fact that, I don't know, even the drivers don't really, not all, but some of the drivers don't even really like to come in and do the podium interviews on these smaller lobbies because they don't necessarily feel like it's as earned, I guess. We will be doing podium interviews obviously next week with it being our championship finale next weekend. We're going to have all the points breakdowns and how everything could potentially work out for our racers next weekend. It's going to be interesting to see how everything kind of starts to sort itself out as we start to factor in drop rounds and as we scale up everything here moving into next weekend. So we'll have the points done for round 9 by the next weekend at the latest, so we can obviously have those drop rounds factored in. We can go do our back checking, make sure we have bonus points accordingly accounted for, and of course the car usage bonus points also get equally accounted for. So great job here from our racers today at Sardinia A, and should be about a 43 to 44 point scale for our racers here this weekend. And just much love to our racers. For our racers that were here this weekend, I do appreciate you being here and being on track and putting on the show here for everybody that continues to show up week in and week out here on the YouTube channel. To our viewers, we really appreciate you guys and gals so much. You know, we appreciate every minute, every second of viewership, and every time you hit that like button, every time that you share the stream out. You know, you're helping us, you're helping me, you're helping the community grow and continue to want to make these leagues bigger, better, and bolder, right? So, I mean, GT7's been a staple on GT45 gaming for 5 years. It's not going to go anywhere. The content might slow down a little bit on GT7, as I said, is because we have lots of great games out now, and we got to put some time into some other content here. You know, at the end of the day, it's about having fun as a content creator, and if I'm not having fun when I'm playing video games, then you guys aren't having fun watching it. So I really do need to do what's best for me sometimes, and just do what I want to do, and not necessarily what everybody wants me to do. So we are changing the content up a little bit here over the next little while. We're going to be doing a little bit of bloop fishing, so to speak, to kind of see where the market is right now. And while we're doing that, we're also going to be working on boosting our YouTube algorithm in the process to start getting us ready for that global market change, which is coming in 2026. So it's very, very important that I'm on top of these things and keeping up with things, and we just appreciate, you know, every aspect of the page, whether you're a viewer, a racer, a volunteering behind the scenes, or just a fan in general of gaming and sim racing or motorsports. We do appreciate all the support from everybody, and we thank you all so much. You know, much love to our racers here today. Congratulations to Tom Supra and Dylan for their top 3 finishes. And, you know, we'll take that into our finale next weekend for a 90-minute endurance session at the Nürburgring 24-hour circuit. So we're going to pull out the big track. It's going to be on random weather, so that means rain is a factor here at the Nürburgring next weekend. And it's all on the line to crown champions next weekend. So next weekend is the one you definitely don't want to miss. Go home, tell all your friends, your family, your brothers, your sisters, and people you don't know. Go yell it out on the street that they need to be watching GT45 Gaming at 5 p.m. Eastern Time next Sunday while we crown our champions at the Nürburgring 24-hour circuit, and see who our overall champion is going to be. Is it going to be a pro? Is it going to be a pro-am? Or is it going to be one of our am drivers? Currently coming into round 9, it was a pro-am driver with a very small margin in the overall standings. Are we crowning our very first ever Vegas Cup Series champion? Is it going to be a pro-am this season? You'll have to tune in next week to find out. Appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And remember, you all matter. Stay winning. And we'll catch y'all in the next one. Ciao for now.
Inside me, son of a god. I'm like a titan that's rising. No, just you watch. I'm stepping into fate. There is no time to waste. I've got that lightning inside me. This is how legends are made. Cranking up on the throttle, victory is mine. Show you the harder the battle, harder I fight. I've come too far to quit. Step back, I'm going in. I'm cranking up on the throttle. This is how legends are made. This is how legends are made. like iron from the fire.